My coworker laughing at my joke. I told him to. All right. Well, thanks everybody for being here. I've got two personal friends, industry titans, as I think I put on LinkedIn, with me up here on the panel. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the successes. Do I have a clicker, Chris? There it is. Sorry. Cool. So first, I'll do quick introductions. I'm Mike, SVP Partner Success and Growth at AdCellerant. I know many of you in the crowd. I have been up on this stage before too. If you want to come chat with me, I'll be around. I'll be the guy in a cardigan with a Miller Lite. Next to me are two good buddies. So we've got Eric Myers, co-founder of CPM Ventures and also EJ Consulting. He has been in this industry for a very long time. I first met him when he was with Cox Media and then over at Belo and the Dallas Morning News. So he's a great guy, tons of experience and insight. We're going to talk to him. And then Eric White, VP Performance Digital Marketing at Cumulus, who's also been a friend of mine since 2017 in my basis days, Centro, as it were at the time, when we started working together. So um, I'm going to set the stage here, and then we're going to do two case studies, real case studies, one of them from Cumulus, and then one of them from the Tampa Bay Times, who Eric Myers works with. Enhance. There we go. All right. So the focus of today's panel is really talking about how local media companies have had a harder time in both closing, growing, and maintaining large accounts, enterprise accounts. For those of you who know me, I've talked about this problem for a while. I've been working with local media companies since 2012, and most of them have slowly started to bleed away some of their larger enterprise accounts. What makes and then this, of course, impacts year over year revenue growth. And as everybody knows, in today's current climate, you have a number. You either have to grow 20%, maybe 30%, or you have to grow 15% and cut 15% of cost. So this cycle has led to a lack of resources and tools. There's a rise of these super seller agencies. All the top sellers leave, go start their own agencies, and take the big clients with them. There's reduced demand for owned and operated. You no longer is a must buy, and there's margin pressure, all of these problems. So we're going to talk about a solution. Each of the case studies is a little bit different. If you wildly disagree with my problem statement and the causes, feel free to shout or at the end raise your suspicions. But we're going to talk about kind of how the pre-sale process looks and how there's support, some of the solutions that can be offered through a partnership, and then the performance and really more high-level, unique agency-style stuff. Sound good? Everybody looks captivated. Corinne is captivated. Thanks. All right. So first, Eric White on the mic. What was your DJ name again?
It was super creative. It was DJ Eric White.
Oh, that is incredible.
Yeah.
That wasn't even planned joke. I actually forgot what his DJ name was. That's incredible. So we're going to talk about the California Aeronautical University, and this was a partnership. So, Eric, do you want me to kind of lead in on this, or do you want to talk a little bit about it?
Sure, I can talk about it. Universities, I love this category because as a media company here, there's one or several in every market, and so we tend to run several campaigns in this space, and some of them are challenging. This one's a little bit of a niche setup because it's trying to acquire students for their aeronautical program. So you can imagine that it's fairly focused in its pursuits. Like most media companies, we had the luxury of being this legacy radio company first and foremost. And with that, we have 400 radio stations across 90 markets, 600 salespeople. So we have so much opportunity to already have existing relationships with small, medium, large business owners in each of our markets. And so the natural progression from this relationship of radio, which this client here was just that, a radio advertiser on a couple of our stations, to be able to have that conversation and gently walk them through the door of facilitating a digital program for them is something pretty special. It's to Mike's point, how we've continue to put double-digit growth into our company year over year. It's really kind of boosting the digital opportunities that we have. This one's no different. So we moved them from radio into a smart digital campaign. We stepped into it slowly with a paid search program. Early on, we partnered with another company, not AdCellerant, to initially start kind of running this program with. Unfortunately, our partner wasn't putting up fantastic results right out of the gate, and the client called us on it. And so, luckily, we have the relationship with them where we got that kind of second chance, and it was an opportunity for us to kind of dial in and get a truer understanding on KPIs and what kinds of things they were looking for there. It was also an opportunity for us to tag in AdCellerant as our partner to kind of take over the account. Mike, do you want to give detail on?
Yeah, and I think what's cool, Eric just and I should have said this more in the introduction for context, runs the in-house agency at Cumulus. So oftentimes, any of the larger advertisers is actually run by Eric and his team internally. But because this customer started small and grew into it, Eric was able and his team kind of provided the oversight. And Eric Myers will talk a little bit about how it's kind of a two-way street. You need people on both sides who understand it. But uh, the campaign grew. We worked really closely with Eric and his team, and really provided some of the metrics and research that the client was looking for.
Yeah, it's this will come to no surprise to anyone in here. Oftentimes, the client thinks they know exactly who their target audience is, and instead, we find over time that it's someone slightly different. And this is why we really appreciate the partnership that AdCellerant brings to the table here, because they run programs similar to how I would personally do it. And one of those methods is a secret sauce of ours is to kind of kill them with data and insights going into even pre-sale, but certainly in that strategy session, to be able to kind of dig into their audience, to ingest everything that we can. That might be a CRM that we ingest and try to understand that audience. It might be a pixel that we put on their website and try to learn which geographies, what types of audiences, what age groups, what other kind of core characteristics are part of their true audience. This helps us dial in the campaign a lot better. And I think a really cool thing about this program was that AdCellerant kind of tapped in a number of different partners and platforms that they could really kind of leverage those insights and make the targeting work a lot better in that capacity.
Yeah, it was great. We essentially extended their geo based on some of their first party data, and it was really successful. Here is a cool quote from the client. I made bold. I made this slide. Shout out to AI for this picture of California University. You can see the bridge from Full House in the background. Um, but this is a strategic multi-platform approach, really hand in hand, working closely with Cumulus and AdCellerant. And I'd love to talk more about this, and you can come and talk to Eric White and DJ Eric White, more about this. But we have a short time, and I do want to get to my friend, not DJ Eric Myers.
It's two Erics up here, but I spell my name with a K, and it's all in how you pronounce it. You can
It's
tell the
true.
difference. Yeah.
Yeah, it is making it confusing for me. All right, so this is for World of Smoke and Vape. Um, also, check out this AI image of what a world of smoke and vape would look like. I'm a big fan of it.
All what the strip mall store looks like.
I think it's pretty accurate. So let's talk a little bit about how this campaign came to be and how you kind of got it over to us. Very complex campaign, lots of line items, lots of different pieces. Um, so yeah, talk to me a little bit about it. I know you're.
Yeah, and I think I might even develop the problem statement a little bit more, and you tip your hat a little bit to it, that it's a dual street, and that's something that we run into a lot. Not everybody has a Cumulus agency. Many people have given up on the agency model for a multitude of reasons. It wasn't making the margin or whatever. So then we have reps stumble into a 7-digit potential client who's worked a territory their whole life, and without the appropriate partner to show up and be able to truly not just the level of enterprise sales enablement at the high end, but all the way down into reporting. How does that go back to the client? So many of us are handing spreadsheets out. And so just the tiers and the layers of that account management were incredibly important for, in this case, Tampa Bay Times, to be able to take on an account of this size. Obviously, maybe not obvious, but this is their largest client right now, incredibly important to us, unbelievably complex. Without that, their select side team that you have, um, there's no way we'd be able to hold on to it at the times. And again, it's the connectivity. And so the dual street, and I just want to point that out too, is we still run into language issues between our sellers in multiple markets that I work with and partners like AdCellerant or other, quite frankly, because we're just not giving them what they need. And so what I'm also really trying to build out in multiple locations is really modeling your enterprise, or if we want to call it client success style, or just your traditional large agency approach. And that is that true high level client success director or manager being very client facing as well, because sometimes the seller just does not have the tools to deal with potential objections, adjustments, change in attribution. Did they really bring the KPIs to the table that are truly being worked on? Did they articulate that to a partner like AdCellerant? And that's what you guys bring, obviously. Also, the responsibility of the publisher, and we push this pretty hard too, is use you guys appropriately. Follow your system, sound like college skipper. But trust the system, it works, but also make sure that we're dovetailed appropriately.
Yeah, I think that's, I've probably trained a couple thousand sales reps. I've been in many of your markets over the years training sales reps. The training is great, but you need somebody on the other side who understands it, because we come in with, very high level, especially for these large campaigns, high level strategy, high level data. These pre-sale reports and the four-legged sales call is great, but if at the end of the day the local contact can't have the conversation in a pinch, that becomes a problem. So I know that's been a big focus of what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said it just, I mean, today the emails that I'm copied into, if we did not have your professional team paying attention, watching, responding on behalf of the publisher, we would not have been able to answer the questions being asked by a client of the size. World Smoke and Vape is incredibly interesting too, and I usually apologize to pretty much everybody in the ad seller and organization on a fairly daily basis, in that it's not just one big account. It is 30 plus locations and growing. It's growing at a 20 to 30% revenue. So it's awesome. It's a good problem to have. But again, it has grown way beyond one publisher's ability to manage. And so we really do need the village on this account. And the reason I apologize not only for the beast of this account, but each of those 30 locations has their own needs and specificities that is just not in our grasp at an individual publisher.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that both of these campaigns had in common was some pretty deep uh, analysis of the data once the campaign got live. And not just, can you hit the magic optimization button? I need my CTR to go up. Um, Really more data focused. I know that's always been a big um, focus of yours, Eric. If you want to talk a little bit about some of the things you like to look at when a campaign is live from a performance perspective, that are just seem obvious, but sometimes not.
Yeah, aside from my DJ career a long time ago, I am also deeply nerdy. I like numbers, I like metrics. And so I always feel like if we can come to the table with as much information, enough insights to share back with our advertiser, with our client, it adds value beyond just kind of running a campaign and hoping for the best, clicks and conversions and anything else. One of the core tenets of my team, and frankly any campaign that we run, whether it's in-house or with partners like AdCellerant, is holding ourselves accountable through a variety of different methods of measurement. One of which we use independent best-in-class attribution partners as kind of a third-party auditor, so that we're not grading our own homework, right? We tag in this external partner to kind of look at conversions from their standpoint. alongside ours. So our DSPs are going to actually spit out a number of what they think are conversions. But if we're running a multi-channel program and we've got Google and Meta involved, they're going to mark themselves as being the sole provider of conversions in every capacity that they can. We start commingling multiple platforms like that, we begin overcounting or overlapping on some of those conversion events here. And so having an external partner kind of measure it kind of holistically has been important to us. Foot traffic, also really important, right? And it's another way that we can point to these directional measurements where we know none of them are infallible. There's lots of limitations in being able to measure people in a variety of different ways, but at least we can have now a conversation with our client and be able to kind of share those data points alongside the audience metrics that we've talked about before too.
Awesome. All right, we have, I think, 2 minutes. I'm going to go back to this slide. Allow anybody to poke holes in it and or ask questions to these two wonderful Erics.